The Ultimate Warrior. No running to the ring. The Ultimate Warrior didn't just make an entrance, he exploded into the arena like a human hurricane. His trademark sprint to the ring, shaking the ropes like a man possessed, became so iconic that it created a problem WWE never anticipated. Other wrestlers started copying the formula, thinking they could capture that same lightning in a bottle. But here's the thing about lightning, you can't manufacture it. WWE eventually had to implement guidelines about ring entrances and time limits because every mid-card wrestler thought they were the next Warrior.
This is seriously getting ridiculous.
The rule wasn't made to stop Warrior himself, it was made to stop everyone else from being a cheap imitation.
Maybe he thought that Hornswoggle was under the ring.
Mankind and the Hardcore Revolution. Mick Foley as Mankind didn't just push boundaries, he obliterated them with a steel chair and smiled through the blood. His willingness to absorb punishment that would hospitalize normal human beings forced WWE to make new rules. After Mankind's Hell in a Cell encounter with The Undertaker, WWE had to establish stricter medical protocols. When a man is willing to take a chokeslam through the top of a steel cage and then gets back up, you realize your standard safety measures might not be adequate. The Hardcore Revolution that Foley helped pioneer eventually led to the company pulling back from extreme violence. Not because it wasn't popular, but because it was becoming impossible to top without serious consequences. Goldberg, the streak that changed everything. Bill Goldberg's undefeated streak in WCW was so dominant that when he jumped to WWE, they had to fundamentally rethink how they presented monster characters. WWE learned that creating an aura of invincibility comes with a price. How do you book someone who's never supposed to lose? The Goldberg problem led to more careful planning of winning streaks and established the modern approach to building and eventually breaking undefeated runs. No one since has been allowed to reach that level of perceived invincibility without a clear endgame. Brock Lesnar, the part-time revolution. Brock Lesnar didn't just change WWE, he changed the entire economics of professional wrestling. When Lesnar proved he could be a major draw while working a limited schedule, WWE had to create the special attraction category that simply didn't exist before. The Brock Lesnar rule isn't written down anywhere, but it's real. It's the unspoken understanding that certain superstars can work fewer dates while maintaining championship status. This fundamentally altered WWE's business model and created a two-tier system that many wrestlers resent to this day. Brock Lesnar proved that sometimes showing up less makes people want to see you more.
Undertaker going for a chokeslam on Lesnar. Undertaker with one last hit.
The Undertaker. WrestleMania becomes sacred. The Dead Man's WrestleMania streak wasn't planned from day one, but once it reached mythical proportions, WWE had to treat WrestleMania itself differently. The streak became so important that it influenced every WrestleMania card for over 2 decades. WWE had to consider The Undertaker's match placement, his opponent's career trajectory, and the streak's impact on the entire event.
Like the WrestleMania brand almost was built around that streak.
The streak is over.
And then Brock comes in and he kills the streak.
When it's finally ended at WrestleMania 30, it changed how WWE books their biggest show. The streak proved that some things in wrestling can become bigger than championships, bigger than storylines, bigger than the show itself.
Greatest performer in WrestleMania history. The greatest streak in all of history.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Austin Rule. Austin's ability to make authority figures look foolish while staying sympathetic to the audience created what insiders call the Austin Rule.
You're gonna say something. What?
You son of a...
What?
WWE became more careful about how they booked rebellious characters against management. They learned that if you make management too sympathetic, the rebel loses heat. Make management too despicable, and the rebel becomes too powerful to control. Austin found that perfect balance, and WWE has been trying to recreate it ever since while avoiding the chaos that came with it. John Cena, the face that runs the place. John Cena's reign at the top lasted so long that WWE had to create new systems to handle audience backlash. The Let's Go Cena and Cena Sucks chants became so prevalent that WWE learned to work them into storylines rather than fight against them.
Listen carefully, young man. Let's go Cena!
Cena's polarizing nature led to WWE's modern approach to top babyfaces. They now expect mixed reactions and plan for them. The Roman Reigns push was essentially WWE trying to recreate Cena's success while avoiding Cena's pitfalls.
Roman Reigns, you are the big dog. Everybody back there knows it.
Cena proved that being divisive could be just as valuable as being universally loved. CM Punk, the Pipe Bomb Protocol. CM Punk's 2011 Pipe Bomb promo was so effective at blurring the lines between reality and storyline that WWE had to establish clearer protocols about what talent could say on live television.
But the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania next year and I'm not makes me sick.
Punk's ability to make stage shoots feel completely real created both opportunities and headaches for creative teams. WWE became more careful about giving wrestlers complete creative freedom on the microphone after learning that some performers were willing to burn bridges for the sake of authenticity. The New Day. Positivity Power. The New Day's organic rise to popularity forced WWE to reconsider how they handle fan reactions that don't match their original plans. When the trio was supposed to be serious and won over fans by being genuinely entertaining instead, WWE had to adapt their entire creative process. The New Day created what we could call the organic evolution rule. WWE learned to recognize when something isn't working as planned, but is working as something else.
World Tag Team Champions!
Their success led to more flexibility in character development and proved that sometimes the best stories write themselves. The Hardy Boys and the ladder match evolution. Matt and Jeff Hardy didn't invent the ladder match, but they perfected it to such a degree that WWE had to establish height restrictions and safety protocols that didn't exist before. The Hardy Boys, along with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys, pushed ladder matches so far beyond their original concept that they created an entirely new category of dangerous spots. After watching Jeff Hardy dive off 20-foot ladders recklessly, WWE instituted maximum height limits for ladder setups. The company realized that if they didn't establish boundaries, wrestlers would keep escalating until someone got killed on live television. The Hardy Boys proved that some performers would sacrifice their bodies completely for the sake of the show, forcing WWE to protect wrestlers from themselves. Big Show. The Giant Problem. The Big Show presented WWE with a booking nightmare that led to the creation of specific stipulations for super heavyweight matches. Show's legitimate size and strength made normal wrestling rules inadequate. How do you have a normal match when one competitor can literally break the ring just by stepping wrong? WWE had to develop reinforced ring structures and establish weight limits for certain match types. The famous ring clap spot became so associated with Big Show that WWE had to plan for structural failure as a regular possibility. They created the Big Show clause in equipment contracts. Extra reinforcement requirements that applied whenever he was booked. More importantly, Big Show's dominance led to WWE developing the David vs. Goliath booking philosophy. They learned that giants are most effective when they're eventually conquered, but the conquest has to feel earned. This led to more strategic booking of monster characters and the understanding that invincibility only works when it's temporary. Rey Mysterio, the weight class revolution. Rey Mysterio's success forced WWE to completely rethink their approach to smaller wrestlers. Before Rey, cruiserweights were largely relegated to opening matches and mid-card feuds. Rey proved that size didn't matter if the performer had enough charisma and athleticism. But Rey's rise also created the Mysterio precedent, the understanding that smaller wrestlers needed to be booked differently to be credible against larger opponents. WWE developed specific storytelling techniques for David vs. Goliath scenarios, emphasizing speed over strength. Rey's World Championship reign required WWE to adjust their presentation style, camera angles, and even commentary approach to make his victories feel believable.
My God!
Triple H, the Reign of Terror rules. Triple H's notorious Reign of Terror from 2002 to 2005 was so oppressive that it fundamentally changed how WWE approaches long championship reigns.
You son of a... Don't you hear her? Don't you hear her?
Hunter's ability to politely bury talent while maintaining his position led to internal policies about championship booking that persist today. The Triple H rule exists in WWE creative meetings, though it's never been publicly acknowledged. It's the understanding that no single performer should hold a world championship so long that it stagnates the entire main event scene. Triple H's reign proved that even excellent wrestlers can kill momentum if they're positioned as unbeatable for too long. WWE learned that championship reigns need to tell stories that build to satisfying conclusions. The backlash to Triple H's dominance led to more careful consideration of when and how to end title reigns, and the understanding that sometimes the most important thing a champion can do is lose at the right time.
Does he have no conscience? Does he have no heart? Do you have no soul?
Goldust, the envelope pusher. Dustin Rhodes as Goldust pushed WWE's content boundaries so far that the company had to establish clearer guidelines about sexual content. Goldust's androgynous character and psychological warfare tactics were so effective at making opponents uncomfortable
John Cena.
that WWE realized they needed parameters for how far performers could go. The Goldust guidelines became part of WWE's content standards, unwritten rules about what kind of sexual suggestion was acceptable on television.
One big happy golden family.
Goldust proved that psychological warfare could be just as effective as physical dominance, but it also showed WWE that some tactics could alienate audiences if taken too far. Goldust's success also led to WWE's modern approach to LGBTQ+ representation. His character broke barriers by being unapologetically different, forcing WWE to consider how they portrayed sexuality and gender identity in their programming. Shawn Michaels, the politicking problem.
Calm down, Shawn. Don't tell me to calm down.
Shawn Michaels' backstage influence during his first run was so problematic that WWE had to restructure their entire creative process. HBK's ability to manipulate storylines and outcomes led to the modern system of creative committees and executive oversight that exists today. After Michaels' antics in the 1990s, WWE developed systems to prevent any single performer from having too much creative control. The company learned that giving wrestlers complete autonomy over their characters could lead to decisions that served individual egos rather than the overall product. Michaels' influence extended beyond creative control. His conflicts with other top stars led to WWE establishing clearer chains of command and conflict resolution procedures. The company realized that managing egos was just as important as managing storylines. Kane, the monster liability. Kane's early dominance was so prominent that WWE had to develop specific booking strategies for supernatural characters. The Big Red Machine's ability to destroy multiple opponents simultaneously created logistical nightmares for creative teams trying to maintain roster credibility. WWE established what became known as Kane rules, guidelines for how monster characters should be booked to maintain their mystique without completely destroying the roster's credibility. Kane proved that supernatural characters needed to be handled differently than regular wrestlers, leading to specialized booking techniques that are still used today. Kane's influence also extended to safety regulations. His fire-based entrance and pyrotechnics led to stricter safety protocols for special effects in wrestling. WWE learned that spectacle was important, but not at the expense of performer safety. Eddie Guerrero, the lying, cheating, stealing standard. Eddie Guerrero's heel work was so masterful that WWE had to reconsider their entire approach to villainous characters. Eddie's ability to make cheating entertaining created a new category of lovable rogue that challenged traditional heel/face dynamics.
Here we go. Watch out. And Eddie just tossed the evidence to Kurt Angle.
The Eddie exception became part of WWE's character development philosophy, the understanding that some performers could break traditional rules about heel behavior and still maintain audience sympathy. Eddie proved that charisma could overcome almost any booking decision, forcing WWE to be more flexible in their character presentations. Eddie's influence on wrestling psychology cannot be overstated. His matches were masterclasses in storytelling that forced WWE to raise their expectations for their narratives. After Eddie, WWE expected more psychological depth from their performers, leading to more sophisticated match structures and storytelling techniques.